I'm worried. I know many of you have heard about the cancellation, but me being a comedian, I felt like I should talk about it on here because it is something that worries me greatly. Um, they canceled Just for Laughs. Now, if you're not in the comedy world, you might not know why that means so much to me and so many comedians, but I just wanted to explain it. Not going to be a lot of funny things to say here because it is, which is ironic because it is a comedy festival, but Just for Laughs was kind of the premier festival for comedy in the entire world. Like, lots of people got discovered there. Think of every sitcom on TV from like the 90s to the 2000s. I guaranteed half of them got their break from performing at Just for Laughs. It's in Montreal, Canada, but people would fly in from all over the world, powerful agents, people that could make things happen, people like, on the level of Lorne Michaels would go and watch, and there'd be hundreds of shows for a week or two, and it was just a great atmosphere. And this year they posted the news that they're canceling the festival for 2024 because of insufficient interest from networks, which I imagine are what funded a lot of the festival, to fly in big names and fly in new names and up-and-comers. But it's really crazy to me, especially because I have a friend that's pretty high up in the comedy industry, and they were saying that out here in Los Angeles, where, not to brag, I have a 30-year mortgage, which I can barely afford out here, but don't worry, my house is much smaller than yours. We live out here, and she was saying this Netflix is a joke festival, which is in LA. She's like, they're trying to be Just for Laughs, but it's not as good, but I think they're just going to eat Just for Laughs lunch because they have Netflix money. And I was like, well, why isn't it as good? And she was like, well, Just for Laughs, there's like a community and there's the hangout spots and all the theaters are within walking distance, so you can go from one show to the next and just check out great show after great show. LA's spread out, babe. There's theaters everywhere. And the other big thing is folks in LA are so industry and into themselves, which you gotta be to have a dream, right? But I have a feeling the audiences out in Montreal are more working class and everyday people that are a much better audience for comedy. They don't have such high expectations, or like, just bothers me. The whole thing bothers me. I mean, I know we saw E3 get canceled too a couple of years ago, which was the big gaming convention, and seeing all these things canceled, it makes me feel weird. It's like, yeah, you can get your big break online without anybody's help, but now we're missing that huge community aspect of it, where we all congregate in these spots and have a place to go that's like a place we're trying to achieve to. And it's every industry is starting to turn into a lonely endeavor, I feel like, and kind of don't like it at all, which is weird because I've never been good at working in teams. I street performed for a long time. That you do that by yourself. Then I did YouTube by myself forever, but I just want these community-based things to exist. We need each other, all right? Stop acting like you don't. And you see it all the time, even on a smaller scale, in like a news publication will hire all these hosts and video people to be the voice of their brand, and then they'll quit because they're like, I don't need you, I can do this by myself. But then we lose the mystique of the big brand or the hub of that industry. Even another buddy of mine that works in colleges was saying the same exact thing is happening in their industry, where a lot of these middle-of-the-road colleges are closing because people aren't applying anymore, which I get, because college is way too expensive and you can learn most of it online. But again, you're missing out on that community you build, the relationships you build. Like, that's where I met my awesome wife. That's where we practiced making our baby for several years, That's where I met so many people and made so many connections that helped me in the future. And anyone that went will say that was the most valuable part of school. And I think we have to figure out a new way to get community going in this internet-based world. And it's just worrisome to me, I'm starting to get old and question the way things are headed. No, I'm fine. I just need a rocking chair and a front porch. I'll be able to work this out in my head. I think we got to figure that out. Like, these individual endeavors are awesome, but how great would it be if we could figure out a way to keep that community thing thriving? I mean, even with my animation channel, for the longest time, I would try and network and connect with people. And even then, everyone was like, I don't see the value in it. I'm just going to do my own thing. And I felt like when the animation was at its strongest is when there was a sense of community to it. And I really wish that was still there, because that was the best part, having each other's backs, rooting for each other. So those are kind of my thoughts on this. This is a short one, but I was just sad for Just for Laughs. And if you want to hang out more, if this wasn't long enough, check out my podcast with my wife over on our Patreon. Otherwise, that was kind of my thoughts on Just for Laughs and Community Hub. So what are yours?